Michelle with Pink and Maine. Thanks so much for joining me today. We're going to be making some cards with our Hey Chickie stamps and dies. We're also going to be using pattern papers from our All Occasion Florals paper pack. I love how bright and cheerful these papers are in this paper pack. So for our first card, I've got all the pieces cut out for us. I've stamped, colored, and die cut these adorable little chicks and the umbrella. Aren't they cute? I love the one with the feet up in the back. Did you notice that one? There's always one in a group, right? I've also stamped and die cut Hey Chickie from the stamp set. And in this coordinating die set, we give you the dies to cut out the sentiments. Sometimes when we can, we like to do that. So I'm going to start my card with an orange piece of cardstock, and I've cut it just slightly smaller than the A2 size card base. So it just gives a small little white border around it. This card we're actually going to be using in a horizontal position. I've got a couple other little layering pieces. I've got these really cute petite flowers. Piece of white cardstock to border that, and then another piece of cardstock, this lavender, to give a small border around the white cardstock. I didn't have a piece long enough to go at the bottom, but as you'll see as we put this card together, that's not going to matter. So sometimes if you know something's not going to be seen, maybe you could use a smaller piece. I didn't want to just throw it away, but it fit nicely around the edges that are going to be seen. We're going to glue these right in the center of the card. I've also cut a strip of striped paper from the paper pack, and that's going to go across the bottom of the card. So you see how that hides my little piece at the bottom that didn't go all the way around. And I cut out a strip just over 1/4 inch of some bright pink cardstock, and that's going to be our border between the striped paper and the rest of the card. So there's our card base so far. I've cut out 2 circles with our layered circle dies. One with this hot pink and another white to go on top of it. And that's going to be the spot where our stamp set is going to live. And we're going to let that live about there. Now, I know if you've watched my videos for a while, you're probably shocked that I'm leaving the whole circle as a circle. Usually I cut part of it off or I anchor it off the side of the card. This time I decided we're going to let the whole thing live on the card. Now I've got our adorable stamp set, and I've put foam adhesive on the back. So I'm just going to remove the release paper and stick that down. Oh, I think that's cute. And I was trying to decide where the sentiment should live. I kind of like it there. I think I like it coming off the little umbrella there. Just ties everything together. So let's glue that down. And here is our finished card. Isn't that sweet? We're making another A2 size card. And this time I'm going to start with a purple layering piece with this pretty floral on top of it. I'm going to go ahead and put the other elements down on the card. So I have a little strip of hot pink and then this lavender stripe. That's going to sit off to the left a little bit. I cut orange and white with our layering circle dies. So that's going to go there. I'm going to go ahead and glue the circle down to the layering pieces. So now we have our basic card layering pieces put together. I want to add a ribbon across and then tie a knot. So I'm just going to put some glue on the back of the ribbon on the 2 ends. I want to leave it open and free on the front of the card. Now that I have my ribbon secured on the back, we can glue this down to the front of the card base. For this card, we're using the cute stamp with the little chick. It's holding the umbrella and standing in a puddle with the cute little rain boots. So put some foam adhesive behind the stamped image. So I'm just going to remove the release paper and stick that down. Before I put the sentiment down, I'm going to tie a knot. So see, here's the reason we leave the ribbon open on the front. I'm going to slide the other small piece underneath. I'm just going to tie a simple knot. Now where I want that knot to sit on the ribbon, I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive so it will stay put. I'll just tie one simple knot, press it down in the center into that adhesive. I'm just going to trim the ends a little bit. There we have our little ribbon and our knot. Just adds a really cute texture and dimension to the card. I've stamped and cut out the sentiment, showering you with love. I'm just going to put the sentiment right underneath there. So there is another super cute card with the Hey Chickie set. So this time we're using that adorable umbrella full of little chicks again. Got some really pretty orange ribbon. I've stamped and die cut the sentiment, glad we're in this together. Such a nice sentiment. With our layered circle, I cut out a piece of white cardstock and then I cut part of that circle off. We're going to let it go off the side of the card this time. And then I just have some layering pieces. I have a hot pink and the yellow dots. And then I have a white piece of cardstock to border this floral piece. Again, from our All Occasion Florals paper pack. It's always nice when using pattern paper to separate your patterns with a little layer or two of cardstock in between. It gives a nice, beautiful finished look. It's nice and framed. So we have our first layering pieces on the card front. And before we add these, I want to add a little ribbon to the bottom. So I'm just going to glue the backs of the ribbon again around this little panel. Now we can glue the top panel down. There, it's starting to come together. Looks really pretty. I've got our circle that's been cut off, and I'm just going to glue that over to the edge of the card, like so. And I have it just going to the edge of the yellow polka dot paper, so it still has a nice pink frame going around the entire card. I have some foam adhesive on the back of our stamped image, and I'm just going to peel the release paper and stick that down. There we go. And our stamped image is a little large for the circle, but you can still see the circle behind it, and it gives a nice place to anchor that image. I'm going to go ahead and glue down the sentiment, glad we're in this together, just below the ribbon. Now, I would not normally stamp a sentiment on a pattern paper like this with the flowers, but because this is die cut with a little bit of white around it, it really helps it to pop off of that pattern paper. So now I'm going to tie a little knot in the ribbon so we can slide this piece under. And again, where I want the ribbon to sit, I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive. Tie a simple knot. And press it down in the center so it will stay, and then just trim the edges of the ribbon. And here is our card. For our next card, I've got this really pretty floral piece to go on top of our scalloped rectangle in this nice hot pink. I'm going to glue the scalloped rectangle piece down to the card front and then assemble the other parts of the card. I've got a piece of yellow cardstock that I cut in a strip. It's about 1 3/4 inches. So this purple polka dot is about 1.5 inches. So it has a nice border on each side. And I put those strips right over the bottom of our little dome there. I want to add a piece of ribbon. I've got this nice hot pink ribbon. I think I'm going to add that there right on top of the lavender polka dot. Now that I've added my ribbon, I can add this piece to our card front. And here's our card front so far. We just need to add our adorable little chick to that dome. The sentiment spring greetings, I'm going to put off to the side down here. All right, that looks great. Again, I would not normally stamp a sentiment on a pattern paper. I think the sentiment gets lost amongst the pattern, but when you die cut it like that, and it's got the little white border around it, it gives it enough to kind of pop away from that pattern paper. I'm going to go ahead and adhere down our little chick. I put some foam adhesive on the back so it stands up a little bit off the card. There we go, and I'm just going to tie a knot in the ribbon. Love doing that. So I've tied my one simple knot and I press it down in the center. And then I'm just going to cut the edges of the ribbon off. And here is our completed card. Trends come and go in fashion and in card making. And it may not be cool to put ribbon on your cards, but I've always loved it and I still love it, especially when I'm using pattern paper. I just love that extra little touch that a ribbon adds. It's got a little texture, dimension to it. You tie a simple little knot and it just creates a nice little finished look for your card. So I was only going to do 4 cards for this video, and I was looking at the set and I said, I've just got to do one more. This Hey Chickie stamp set was the stamp of the month for February 22. So if you subscribed in February of 22, we not only gave you the stamp set, or if you subscribe to the Stamp and Die, you've got the Stamp and Die, but we also gave you a stencil, just a little freebie we threw in there. And the stencil had this pattern. So just thought I'd use that stencil. For those of you that got this stencil as a freebie, I thought I'd use it to make a card with the stamp set. It's a super cute stencil, and I may have to do something similar to release a little later on because I really love it when I used it. So I cut out with our stitched rectangle dies a white piece of cardstock, and I used that stencil. I used our mini ergonomic blender brush, and I used a yellow ink, and I just blended yellow ink over the stencil. But I couldn't stop there. I had nice little yellow pattern, but I thought it just needs a little something more. So I don't know if the camera picks it up, but I left the stencil in place. I mixed a little of our ice rink glitter in with our glossy gel. I mixed it up and then I spread it over the stencil, and then I get this awesome glittery yellow pattern on the paper. It turned out so nice. I just wish you could see the glitter and the raised dimension that the gel gives over that inked background. It looks really cool. So let's make a quick little card with my stenciled panel. And this lime green cardstock I cut out with our scalloped rectangle dies. I love that you can mix glitter with our glossy gel and make your own glitter gel. And if you do it with the ice rink, which is a translucent iridescent glitter, you can put it over any color ink or cardstock and that color will shine through. So you get a super sparkly finish. So here's our card so far. We're going to use this cute little chick with the flowers. I've left the flowers white and just colored the center. So don't be afraid to just leave something white on your colored images. I cut 2 circles from our layered circle dies, one from this really pretty petite floral pattern, and then a yellow cardstock. I cut off part of them there because they're gonna kind of look like it's going off the edge of the card. I cut a couple of strips of paper out of the yellow and the lime green cardstock, and then cut the little flag end there on them. And I'm just gonna layer them there like this, yellow. I stamped Spring Greetings with our watermark and embossing ink, and I embossed the sentiment with our frosting embossing powder. So that's our white embossing powder, and I think it came out great. So now it's time to add our little chick with the flowers. I've put some foam adhesive on the back. I had a little extra stamped flower, kind of match the flowers with the chick, so I think I'm just gonna glue it down here on these little strips of paper. And there is our little bonus card. I love how soft this is with the lime green and the yellow. Really cute. I wanted to share one last thing with you. Have you seen our 7x7 storage pockets? They are the perfect size for holding your 6x6 paper pads. Now they'll also hold stamps, dies, stencils, whatever you can fit within that 7x7 inch square pocket. Thanks so much for joining me again today. I hope you've enjoyed these cards we've created with our Hey Chickie stamps and dies, along with our All Occasion Florals paper pad. You can find these products and more at pinkandmade.com or ask your local retailer. Until next time, my friends, keep living the creative life.